Evening, good afternoon for the TV in association with Guna Matters, or Guna Matters in association with Cannon Point. I can never work it out. I can never work it out. But yeah, but we are streaming simultaneously on both platforms, and it's going to be a very interesting and easy talk. Yeah, Friday, man. Friday's been a tough week. But without further ado, let's do the intros first. Brother Glenwyn, how's you been?
I am, like I said off air, I'm tired, but I'm excited. Long week has been a business trip for me, but it's been a blessing. So yeah, I'm good, man.
Good. Long drive as well, you said.
Yeah. Me.
Oh dear, my brother Ralph. Ralph, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I can say the same. It's been a challenging week. It has been a challenging week, but I've got my daughter is in another part of the room where she's preparing for her exams and studying. She's chilling at the moment because she's had her head in books. We've had a good day actually, but the weather's beautiful in South Wales. I'm sure it's beautiful everywhere else. So I'm taking it relatively. I want to take it easy, but I think as we go into it, it's going to get rather challenging as well. So I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I'm glad.
I'm not in this.
I'm going to come with the bell saying ding, ding.
Before we get into this, guys, make sure you just click the like button for Canon 42, but make sure that you do subscribe to Guna Matters. I have left the link for Glenwyn's YouTube channel in the description box. I did my homework, so guys, make sure that you do go over and subscribe. Right, now the first thing I actually wanted to talk about was West Ham, the Happy Hammers, beat Fiorentina in the, let me get this right, in the Europa Conference League final. Their first trophy in 43 years. I wasn't born yet, but Declan Rice, I think he said that he doesn't want to stay, and I think the owner of West Ham says we don't want to keep a player who doesn't want to stay. But your thoughts about Declan? Is Declan Rice coming to Arsenal, Glenwyn? Is he coming?
You know what? Until he gives that shirt, and until he has signed, and until no matter what, unless he has signed and have the shirt, whichever number it will be, then I will say, welcome, Declan. I can't say for real, man.
Yeah. But do you think his valuation has gone up now that he's won a trophy for West Ham?
Look at it's always going to be a big amount. Well, certain reports are saying 120, some are saying 95, some are saying 100. You never know what the real amount is. Surely West Ham will take an amount if the makeup of the deal suits them, obviously. So if I, for argument's sake, say here's a 95, but 80 of that 95 up front, perhaps, it will give them an opportunity, obviously, to go get one or two, as the owner said the other day. I mean, they have to replace him with one or two players. So, I mean, yes, they got maybe a nice couple of million on this cup final, but they also want to self-sustain themselves. If they sell somebody, they want to use that money to obviously bring in a new player. So the makeup of the deal has to be a suitable deal for West Ham to say, I will let him go for 90 or 95, depending how lucrative the upfront is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But surely, being a European Cup winner as a captain, your values tend to have to go up. It's inevitable that your value will go up because now you're a winner. You're a cup winner. I mean, when last did we win a cup, man?
Well, in Europe, over a quarter of a century ago, isn't it? So that's a long time. That's a long time.
One thing I want to add, sorry, Alex, is that everybody said that the Conference League, when it started, when it came out, it was a very small cup. You know what? It's a European cup. Whether it's a UEFA Cup, whether it's a Conference League Cup, it's a European Cup. So surely you are amongst the greats in Europe, whether it's high or low. You're among them.
Yeah. Ralph, your thoughts? West Ham and Declan Rice, potential 90 plus million.
Well, we had a player that was worth when we paid that for him 90 plus million, and I think it's coming back to us. I'm not sure if it's going to be sold. I would imagine it would be sold, and he came up short. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure until the actual player, until Declan Rice says, "I want to join Arsenal." You know, I haven't heard him mutter those words, as it were. So I'm gonna just, you know, I'm not gonna go all in on Declan Rice. I did say a couple of weeks ago that I don't think we're going to get Declan Rice. And I don't think we're going to get Castillo either, because there's nothing that I can see in terms of proof that when we go in for a player, we actually get them. I have to be real. I have to be real. And like pretty much as Glenn mentioned, until the player has sat down with Edu, signed on the dotted line, wearing the shirt and all the promo with it, I think there's still scope for him to either, now he's won something with West Ham, you know, he can pretty much say he wants to stay, or he can command where he goes next. And if Europe is interested in him, then why not? You know, because as long as he's playing, England will still pick him anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where he ends up. I don't know. I don't know if he would want to end up at the Arsenal. I mean, we've clamoured for him, and like I also mentioned this before last week, that I don't like the fact that we are so open to trying to get after a player when we've been bitten so many times. You know, we have to keep these kind of like, keep the way you do your negotiations and who you're going to be after. You have to keep that, you know, under wraps. You know, let everybody speculate, but don't say nothing until you actually do the business. We seem to be talking a lot about it, and then when it doesn't happen, we're surprised it doesn't happen. You know, guess what? They asked for about 150. We wanted to pay 90. We're not going to go, and there you go. As I said before, everybody starts inflating their prices when Arsenal start clamoring. So let's just until I see it, I don't think it's going to come.
But I think Moses Caicedo, the Brighton midfielder, did say during January that he wanted to join Arsenal. He made a trip from Brighton to London trying to get that deal done, and it didn't happen. But I've always said the same thing as you guys just said there. You know, don't believe it until you see the player holding up the jersey. And even now, I'm a little bit curious. You know, good like Photoshop business there, or the player.
That's even more of a statement about where Arsenal was thinking. If a player actually goes to London, right, and he wants to sign, and we don't get it over the line, that says a lot about us more than the player.
Again, it comes down to, are we really doing the business that we should? Are we really ruthless in showing the bucks? Because you got to remember now, there's a fixture for England. In fact, next week, Friday, the 16th of June. So Declan Rice is on his way to the England camp very soon. So if we can't get the business done by then or before then, it's going to be delayed again, because he's going to be at the England camp, because he's going to be focused on England now. He said he's going to be focused on West Ham in the Conference League final, and he shifted all his focus there. Arsenal were too gentlemanly to obviously to keep the peace between them and West Ham. Now the players going off to to England, so he's going to be focused elsewhere. So he's not going to be focused on any deals now. So yes, he still have 2 years with West Ham. He doesn't have to go anywhere. West Ham already offered, as per reports I've read the other day, is 200 a week, and he turned it down. So I mean, he doesn't have to go. You don't have to go. He can still get the 200 a week. He can still be the club captain. And now he's going to go to England. So Arsenal have to, if they really want him as the top priority, they have to, this week coming, they have to, before, in fact, he goes to the England camp to at least tie him down.
But Glenwyn, I think during January, Arsenal said that Declan Rice is a priority in the summer transfer window. I think
then somebody doesn't have their priorities straight at Arsenal, because at this stage, I mean, Mudryk was a priority.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had so many priorities last season as well. In fact, last season's winter, this player from Vlahovic, it was the whole January window. He was the priority, but we never got the priority. So at the end of the day, is the priority of the hierarchies at whether it's Richard Garlic Bread or whether it's whoever, they should get their priorities straight.
Yeah. I just go on, Ralph.
One other thing as well, that don't forget, these players, they've got their agents in their ear as well. So the agents will say, okay, you just concentrate on England, concentrate on West Ham. I'll come to you, because that's what you employ me for. I'll come to you and tell you what deals that we can negotiate that will be the best in your best interests. So don't forget, the agents play a really big part in this as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be the player. The player can say where he wants to go, but then the agent will say, well, if you're thinking about this, and how about this option? You know, and that's what they do. And that's how they sway that these players from playing for who they want to play to where they end up going to play because of the bigger bucks.
Yeah. Well, obviously, they also put emphasis on their own back pocket as well. So,
that's part of it. That's part of it. Get their 10% in, and then everything's rosy.
If not 15 or something like that, stupid.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But that's football's big buck business, isn't it? It's all about the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to kind of get into some light topics. Maybe. You're very, very tentative. Don't treat this with kid gloves.
You know,
no, you don't need gloves.
You sound like you're walking through the minefield. And you had the map. You had the map, but now the map's gone.
I tried.
Yeah, this pull of the Band-Aid, man.
Well, let me put it from this angle. So we know, obviously, just working it backwards, Arsenal fell short in the pursuit of winning the Premier League, the first time in almost 20 years now. And it was kind of strange to me how the manager positioned certain players, and the games that we should have really won, we just kind of fell away. Now, I'm gonna go to Glenwyn first, and then Ralph can probably chip in whenever he feels like it. But we spoke about this, Glenwyn, to some kind of lengths on WhatsApp. And when you did that video dropped, the shortest video that you've done for the midday Monday show on Canon 40 TV. Some alarm bells were going off in my head, Glenwyn. I was thinking, do you know what? Glenwyn's got there's some substance to what you said in the video. A 13-minute video where you cram the whole season in and then some, Glenwyn. So I don't know how do you want to start off, Glenwyn, on this one?
Firstly, I want to say, and to whoever is watching, this is not the viewpoint of Canon Fodder. This is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And please don't slander the platform that we're on. What came about is I took a look at midway through the season, because I mean we had a blastering start of the season. Nobody could say anything wrong about Arsenal, although they did. And I made a reference to the Newcastle game when they visited the Emirates. So there I could see there's something not right, because I mean, again, we can justify VAR decisions, referee decisions, and that is part of the game, and we're never going to get around it. But we got to look ourselves in the mirror and say, what did we do to get to the point of becoming second in the, well, bottling, as people say, bottling the league? We didn't turn up at most. And I looked at a couple of highlight videos of certain games, and that one particular was a 0-0 draw at the Emirates with Newcastle. There was moments, I mean, that we could put that game to bed, and certain players just didn't look the part. I mean, I'm gonna probably mention on number 9, he had an opportunity to score, and the ball was crossed in the last couple of minutes of the game. The ball was crossed to him, and he should have given his all to put the ball in the net. He missed it by a scruff, and I think, I'm not sure, and I speak under correction, it could have been that he maybe got a nudge or not. But look, it is so many scenarios and moments in games where you make the decisions and it is lackluster. It is like Partey against West Ham. Put the ball against Declan Rice. Put up his hand. And again, a penalty that, in my opinion, wasn't a penalty. So those type of things, as the players, certain players, in moments of the games, didn't add up for me. And again, the manager also stick to the whole plan A scenario, whereas I know he started remember we called him a tinker man in the beginning when he started. He had various options of playing, and currently he's only playing one way. So how can he not change the game? Not saying he must change the complete style of the game, but so his technical ability sort of through a lot of games off par. So what I mean by that is, again, look, I'm jumping from game to game now. So what I mean by that is, he plays guys out of position. He stick to certain guys in positions, i.e. Zinchenko. How many goals did we concede or lost balls in a game situation on that left-hand side? And he stuck to it. In my mind is, how can you do that? Surely you have intelligence about you to change a game. I think it was the Forest game where he played Partey on the right-hand side as back.
That's right.
How do you do it?
Yeah.
So the Liverpool game, now this is going to sound very, very controversial. A lot of people, and I think we've all said it, the situation between Xhaka and what's his face, Trent Alexander. The whole game went our way, and the sooner he did that, had this little tuffle with Trent Alexander, I had a epiphany. Isn't that where yes, the game changed after that, but isn't that one of the things that sort of, we know that because it happened last season with the two managers. When the two managers went at it,
that
changed the game. So another scenario that you can sort of think of, it wasn't that an instigation of throwing that particular game, because we were 2-0 up. We had the complete control of the game. So you know what? It sounds all like justifications, but the reality is these things are possible. And I mean, I also went through a couple of gambling bans of since 2012, I think. It was a couple of players that was banned of certain teams. It was that Joey Bartons or something like that. It was Dan Gosling and a couple other players that was banned, and they all had bettings on games. So these things happen. So I'm not saying that Xhaka had a bet on this game, but what I'm saying, could it not be one of those scenarios? So yeah, I mean, and I had a lot of thoughts in these type of things that brought me to that question to ask: did Arsenal really throw the league to make it look like we've bottled it, to make it look like we just handed it into to City's hands? Because the last 5-6 games to the run up of how we lost it was too good to be true. The draws against the Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton, the loss against City. I mean, if you look at City, the game against City, irrespective of how quality they are, how good they are, did we have any possession in that game? The Brighton game, 83% possession we've given to them. The Forest game, we didn't do much in those type of games. So it begs to ask the question is, did I hand the league to the guys who was chasing us the whole season? So in a nutshell, those are all the type of things that I've been looking at and went back and saw that the games that we've played up until the Newcastle games, we were outclassing everybody except for the Southampton game where we also drew 1-1 at St. Mary's. But every other game we played to the best of what we could done. I mean, I don't think we can do better than that.
But you know what, Glenn? Sorry to cut in there, but I think it's more stark when you look at it this way, where you see Arsenal were top for 95% of the season. Then all of a sudden, the fallible, they've been fallible. They've drawn and they've not gotten over the line. 95% of the season.
Are we blind to? Are we blinded by the mainstream media saying that Arsenal doesn't have? Yes, we don't have the depth. Yes, we had a couple of injuries here and there, but every other team did have injuries. Every team didn't have depth. So you can't justify those type of things. I mean, for a team, never in the history of the Premier League, a team that was leading for that amount of time on top didn't win it. We are the only team that has been there and have not won the league for the amount of time that we've been there. I did a video also on the scenarios where a couple of guys have bottled their leads, but it wasn't the same amount of time that we've spent up there. No team have been there so long and not won the league. So there's so many things that you can still ask, you know what I mean? And it's gonna cause so much havoc and controversy. It's gonna people's gonna stone me, the proverbial stone, you know what I mean?
So can I ask you the cookie cutter of a question? So do you think that towards the end of the season the results were manipulated to end a certain way?
I don't know for sure. Alex, like I said in the beginning, it's my opinion, and for the things that I've seen opposed to the things that we've done, it's a possibility. I mean, we have to look at all scenarios. We don't leave any stone unturned. It is happening in especially in UK. There's a lot of betting going on in sports. You maybe know more of the betting in England because you're there. You might see it maybe more, but I also I do a bit of research here and there. It's happening. It's there. So the possibility could be. I'm not saying that it is because I don't have the proof of it. There's no concrete evidence to say that the manager or certain players in the team have really gone that route.
But Glenn, well, I mean, I know it happens in other sports, especially, my other favorite sport, cricket. If it can happen in cricket,
happens in cricket in South Africa as well.
We must not be foolhardy to think that it can't happen in football. It can happen, and I'm sure
It's
it
possible.
does. It does happen in football.
Surely.
Ralph.
Yeah. So I saw the video, and when we spoke about it last week, or maybe it was beginning of the week, I'm trying to keep my train of thought. I said I feel that we need to have a look at this on a broader spectrum, because I think it's a subject matter that's worth looking into. If I have to look almost back in terms of when you have a system that will allow sportsmen, because everyone's human, and they go to the betting office and they put a bet on, and back in the day would have been horses, and we all know about the old school guys. We all know about, if I had to put in, I want to put some names down, but I think maybe just we leave the names out. But we know of the old school guys who could play football, still smoking, still drinking. Football wasn't deemed was deemed the kind of sport, but the sportsmen didn't take it that serious. They took it serious when they had to on a Saturday, but then they felt that to get rid of the stress and the build up of an important match, you go and do your leisurely things. And if it was drinking, if it was partying, and there's lots of history behind that. If it was taking certain substances as well to try and get the stress out of your body because you want to relax, because before you know it, you're back in training again on a Monday, then that was seen as okay. But when it starts creeping into the professional arena, where the professionals themselves felt, actually, I want to get some kind of financial benefit because maybe I'm not being valued my worth by the club or by an agent or by whatever forces were out there, then those tendencies tend to be drawn into that situation. And like I said before, we're all human. Now, both of you guys alluded to the fact that we've seen it in other sport. I've been watching documentaries about how betting had taken an Italian team. I think it was Juventus. They got fined so many points, and I think they got relegated. I'm trying to remember, because of the betting, and it was influenced by someone who was on the board, right? So when you see that happen, and we've seen it in cricket, we've seen ball tampering, we've seen outs that weren't out but was given out, umpires not given the right decisions, and then you see it going to football. Then football, if we have to look at football as a whole, I think during the season we was all talking about certain referees. I bet that we're not going to get this game done because this referee, I'm sure, he's taking something in his pocket. And we was all laughing and joking about it until the spread betting scenario came in. Now we have to look at the way that the sport has been governed by advertising. Advertising sees it as a body because it's a mass appeal. So therefore, they want to get in, and they only want to get in with the winners. Now, many years ago, you'd be able to see lots of smoking adverts around the boards, and lots of alcohol and electronics and everything else. The only thing that seems to have gone is the smoking and the alcohol. Although, if you look at the World Cup this year, right, a certain well-known brew was embarrassed because they weren't allowed to advertise during the World Cup.
Yeah, don't mention the name.
They paid a lot of money. They paid a lot of money for that as well. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. You see it in every kind of sport, but then the governing body has to say we've got a responsibility. if we've got, like you said, Alex, when you was refereeing the 10-year-olds, they were arguing with you because why? Because they've seen that influence on the TV. They've seen it with their adults. They've seen it in the grounds. So whatever is seen and is repeated becomes a natural habit. Now, instead of cigarettes and alcohol, we still see a lot of sports drinks advertised. Okay, we've seen a lot of electronics advertised. I remember with the old kit, we had JVC and we had Sega and everybody else on our shirts.
Yeah.
So now it's transferred. It's transferred from electronics and sports drinks to betting. So to me, it is a very, very simple trap to fall into. You're playing for a betting company. You're sponsored by a betting company, and your whole being is that you're thinking about turning up on the game day and putting the ball pass back in the net. I'll tell you what, it's just a cheeky one. I put a fiver between your teammates. I put a fiver that I'm gonna bag 2 or 3 goals today, and your mate's gonna say, nah, I'll bag 3 or 4, and that's between the two of you. But then it becomes a habit. It becomes, I tell you what, how about if we go outside? No one needs to know who it is, but if we go outside and get somebody else to bet for us, and that's where it expands. Now, we've seen Ivan Toney, but there's other players, as you mentioned as well, who unfortunately has fallen into the trap, and they were not protected by the club. When you play for the club, and James Rowe mentioned about this as well. If you're looking at a player from a holistic kind of point of view, you want to make sure that player's looked after. And again, you can go from chapter to verse about all the players that came into this sport and took drugs, womanized, better amongst their teams, their teammates, lost deliberately, didn't turn up. Okay. It's quite easy to say, you know what, actually, this is not as far-fetched as it is. It is unscrupulous. It is, maybe some of the teams will have to have a look at the way that they are sponsored. Like we told them about being sponsored by the drinks company and the alcoholic company. If you're betting, and look at what we're doing now, we're advertising to tell people to be responsible. That doesn't really stop a person from betting. You can tell them all you want, but if they've got it in them to put that bet, that means that there's something psychologically wrong with that person. And if they are a player, then it's the responsibility of the club to look after the player's well-being. Now, that put aside, the way that Arsenal had fallen apart, you could look at it from quite a few points of view. You can say, you know what, the players were fatigued. But then how comes Man City weren't fatigued? Well, Man City are a big team. They've got 2 or 3 teams on the bench. Okay, so that's my excuse gone. Okay, so tactically, was Arsenal aware? Well, they started off this season fantastic. But why did they put down Newcastle, Brentford, Liverpool, Southampton, Brighton, West Ham, Notts Forest, end-to-end Man City? If we had won 5 or 6 of those games outright, we won't be having this conversation. We'll be still on the bus. I reckon. We'll still be on the bus.
I'll probably be in London by now.
It's a long journey to Johannesburg. But I reckon we'll be still on the bus. But you know what? Sometimes when the dust does settle, you do have to have a look and think, well, hang on a minute now. How could a team with so many points, even if they dropped 1 or 2 matches, even if they dropped 1 or 2, you know what? There's a saying that if you blindfold someone and you gave them multiple choices questions, the ratio of them getting it right is 50-50.
Yeah.
That's someone blindfolded.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we looked at the way that Arteta played his favourites, and we said you can't keep on doing that because it's going to come back and bite you, and it has done. You can't say that we're going to take all the positives. I keep saying about this all the time. We've got a shed full of positives, and no one's learning. We're going through these teams that we're playing against now. You know, the newly promoted teams coming up. These teams that we played against the season gone, there are no mystery men. There are no, who's this new team that's coming up on us now? We all knew these teams. And the reason why we played so well in the first half, the first 3 quarters of the season, was because we had a good preseason. We got our players in the right place, and we just went for it. And the reason why, in my heart of hearts, I'm a stone cold gunner. I love my team. But when we was on that run, and when we dropped off, I was gutted, but I'm not surprised. I'm gutted at the fact that how could we have lost it when we were so far ahead?
Yeah.
If it's down to the players, and if the players are saying, you know what, I'm going to have a bet. I'm not going to turn up today. If it's the manager, he says, you know what, Pep was good to me when I was learning the trade. How about if I just, you know, relax our team, because, you know, we're going to be up against Liverpool soon, and I'm sure we'll gather some kind of momentum when we beat West Ham. That's naivety, and you can't be naive. You know, we can be naive in our day-to-day, and you still get smacked for it.
But is that being naive, Ralph, or is that just trying to manipulate a certain outcome that you want?
I don't think it's naivety when you are in a position of power and influence. You pretty much, you know, you set your stall, and if you're thinking, you know what, actually, well, we don't need to turn up against West Ham, because I know they're not going to turn up. They haven't scored in the last like 3 or 4 matches.
Yeah.
Now look at this. They're champions of Europe. You know what I mean? They're champions of Europe. We can't even say anything. Because the last time, I keep getting reminders of Alan Smith's goal, 1994. 1994.
Ralph. Glenwyn wants to say something very quickly. Go on, Glenwyn. Go on.
Yeah, just something that reminded me of the pre-match press interview with Mikel Arteta. That's the pre-match interview that we had to go to the Etihad. He specifically said in that interview, this is going to be one of the toughest games that we're going to have to go, and we're going to have to prepare well. Now, if you look at how we played that game, and contradictory being said that we have prepared well for that game, that's total opposite of what you've prepared, because you did nothing on that game, really.
Yeah.
So, to the point of what you said earlier on, it could be any person. In this case, a person in the power, the hierarchy. In this, Arsenal's manager has come out and said we are going to prepare, and we prepared well for that game. So it could be, again, to Alex's point, wasn't it not maybe manipulated in that particular sphere of games where it's Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton?
Let me say something, gentlemen. So I did the watch along at Alex's with the
all 4 games, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we highlight Man City and then we do the comparison, the team that I saw playing against Man City couldn't lay a glove. Couldn't lay a glove. I said to Alex all during the watch along, and Alex was saying to me, Ralph, there's nothing that Arsenal can do, because we haven't had the ball for about 40 minutes. You know what I mean? we were so far apart from them, it was embarrassing. And then I said to Alex, well, we've got to do something, we've got to change something. And Alex said, well, what can you do? I said, I don't know. I don't know, but you have, as a manager, when you see your team, like you alluded to earlier, you prepared your team. You know the ins and outs of Man City because you was there for like 3 or 4 seasons before you came to us.
Yeah.
You know the players know you.
Yeah.
And to me, every player on that pitch knew what Arteta was going to. Pep didn't need to say anything. Now, Pep was criticised by De Bruyne when they were playing against. Who were they playing against?
It was Real Madrid or some.
No, it was a Champions League game, Ralph.
Champions League,
Real Madrid game.
Or,
Real Madrid.
Or Bayern Munich, one of the.
Now, tell me, in the Arsenal setup, who could challenge Arteta? Who could say to Arteta, hang on, boss, you know, we're playing, but your tactics are we can't do anything here. They're all young men. They're not gonna challenge. De Bruyne would challenge. Goodwin would challenge.
Yeah.
Haaland is happy to be there. Look at Haaland taking his hair ring off with his mane and scoring the last goal. I never ever in my life seen a player, whether I played them at Hackney Quick, right, or on TV, see them actually take their hair thing off and go in and score the last goal.
It's like being Samson. Samson power.
He came on like He-Man. He came on like He-Man, right? And he scored the goal. Okay, but jokes aside, what you said earlier about Arteta saying that we're preparing. When you beat Liverpool at your ground and then you are 2-1 up at their ground, I'm not going to include Xhaka because Xhaka, he gave them something, but Arteta at the break, Arteta could have like read the right act. And I said to Alex, I'm not sure Alex joined us. So I said on the watch along, you're going to watch Liverpool now because they're going to throw the kitchen sink at us. We've just literally just lit the spark because I was hearing on my phone, because I had the live feed on there. If you can hear, the Liverpool fans were berating their team.
Yeah,
it was so quiet. That is not the Anfield that I've known from years back. When they went 2 goals down, I put it in comparison to when England played against Italy in the Euro final and England went 1 goal up. Italy was arguing amongst themselves. I never ever seen that with maybe Italian teams in the Serie A, but not in Europe. I've never seen that. And then at the break, they regrouped and they came and won it. At the break, Liverpool came back and it was a masterclass. And you're seeing Arteta standing there, not going up and down the touchline, but he was thinking, this is the nightmare that I didn't want to be part of. How can I and the team was pretty much on all points bulletin because they were attacked. Every time the ball went out, it came back. Ramsdale, for me, was the man of the match that day because we could have lost that match. Then we did the same thing again against West Ham. And then we did the same thing against Southampton. Now, 3 matches on the spin. You can't be telling me as a player, it's happened once, it's happened twice. Boss, what's going on? You know, we've been here 3 times. This is we're at home. This is a match we've got to win. Give me something. And we end up with nothing.
And just to see how we played against Southampton, Glenwyn, and where are Southampton? They've been relegated.
In fact, they were relegated the week after.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. The manager, the manager has to take some responsibility for this because he's taken a lot of young players, right? And I think it's been said so many times. Every player that he's been taking or being getting into the club and choosing the players that was there is players that cannot say no. It's players that cannot. They respect the person in power too much in order to challenge them. If it was a captain in Vieira's days, I'm sure Vieira would have said, Arteta, no, we can't do this. We have to do this on the pitch because you seeing it from a different angle. We are with our backs against the wall. We need to do something. And that is where Arteta is choosing the players that he can overpower. And I've said it. He wants to overpower the players. That is what he wants to do. He wants to put them down and say, I'm telling you, you must do this, and I'm telling you, because you can see it on the game.
Yeah.
Zinchenko, again, it's not that I don't like Zinchenko. Zinchenko, what must you do? Go in. You will call Zinchenko and go, go, go. But where does the ball come through? Around him. And every game he's been saying that, go in there, go in there, go in there. He told Tierney to go in there. So the manager is taking players, and believe you me, the players that is going to come in this season is going to be the same players that he's going to have to. He wants to overpower them.
Yeah.
So if Declan Rice don't want to come to Arsenal, it's going to be because of that.
Can I add something further as well? You brought up a good point about Tierney. You know, when we had some kind of guest appearance with Partey as a right back and Jack as left, and you got Tierney on the bench. You know, if that's not an indicator that you don't want a player, you know, and he busted a gut when he came on. You know, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why Shevchenko is more of a midfielder. Why did you put him in left back to I suppose make some kind of point.
Position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. He tired out. He tired out against Liverpool. He tired out against Man City. Man City at the end of the match at home, they went up to him and they were bullying him. It may have been a bit of a joke. It was a bit of a joke, but he didn't like it. By the end of the day, he walked off. He's still their boys.
Yeah, yeah.
So
in the Southampton game as well. Southampton game, 2 goals came past him. 2 goals.
Yeah. So to me, you know, if we're going to go back to your video, there are certain things. I'm just reminded again about George Graham, because he had a young team, and he galvanized them, and nobody took he didn't take no lip from anyone, but he made them winners.
Yeah.
He made them winners.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you want to go in about how human everyone is, he also faulted as well to the bit of temptation.
Exactly.
So we have to be very careful. This thing could be one of the underlying features, unfortunately, because it's there. And if we shine a light on it, we want to make sure that we are pretty clean, especially now. If everyone's clamoring, saying, I wouldn't mind getting Ivan Toney because he's going to serve 8 months of his ban. By the time he comes in, if we was to get him, potentially it'd be December, February, and by that time we don't know where the team's going to be. But to get him in, and depending on how much as well, it might be a worthy choice, because I don't know if we're going to get Romelu Lukaku. I think
Yeah,
whenever we say somebody on this channel, Chelsea we've got Chelsea fans who listen in as well. So they talk to their man in charge and they go and get them. Them. So yeah.
Yeah, we won't get Romelu Lukaku. We won't get him. We won't get him.
There's talks about Kai Havertz. What the hell?
Yeah. Let me go to the live chat, man. I have to go to the live chat. We've got Emerson. He says, what does he say? He says, good evening, Alex, Ralph, Glenn Wynn. Good evening to you.
Evening, Emerson.
I think we've got a couple of returning old subscribers. Even says evening, and I think Mario's also an oldie as well. He says good evening, General. I think he's speaking to Glenn Wynn about that. Glenn Wynn, the General. Ange, good evening, Ange. Says evening, takeaway. Wishing you a good show and hit the like button. Who else do we have here? Is he one of yours, Glenn Wynn? Who's that?
Well, Fuller Dominique. No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Man, what's going on?
Everything.
I don't know.
He ain't. I think that's about
Declan Rice.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be coming. Not. Glenn Wynn, how much would you be willing to pay for Declan Rice?
For Declan Rice?
Yeah.
90.
Still
too much, but you know what? It's not going to be lower than that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good evening, gentlemen or gentlefolk. And they come back and say it's all about the dollars. Yes, it is. Emerson says, spot on, Glenn. And West Ham are looking at Dortmund and see what Rice is worth. And they are both English born. Yes, exports. Asher D, Ralph's the original wingman, says, hey, winners.
Happy summer.
Glenn, is this one of yours as well? Thanks.
I'm not sure.
No? All right, okay, I don't recognize those names. The club needs to act fast this transfer window, but they've never acted fast.
No,
never.
They don't. They don't learn from their mistakes.
But the error of their ways, Glenwyn. Get the business done early.
Again, it's my way or no other way.
Is it Richard Garlick, isn't it? Is it Richard Garlick and Vinay? Or
yeah, I think so. I think it's
Richard Garlick. Bread doesn't do much for me. He sees to what the contracts of the players. That's it.
Yeah.
But I think it's Mr. Vinay who makes the decisions and giving it to Josh Kroenke, that sort of a way. But it comes from the manager, surely.
Yeah.
I want Alex, I want Ralph, I want Glenn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Highbury local badger. Good evening, fella. He says, Declan Rice. Declan is another Arteta. He is not worth 90 plus. Yeah. All right. Don't mix your words, man. Just say it like it is.
Oh wow.
Caicedo and Dusan Vlahovic. Not for me, man.
No, not for me.
Savic. What do you sell on Savic? Do you think it's still worth getting from? Is it Juventus he plays for?
Isn't it Napoli?
It's Napoli. Yeah. Is he worth?
No, I won't take him either.
Yeah.
Just now he sends SMS on the ground to the betting station. You never know.
Hey, listen, it could be a sponsor coming in soon.
Oh dear! Sorry, I meant Dusan Vlahovic, a 6-foot goal machine that can bag a 20+ goals. And Tony, one of our contributors, says, "Good evening, gentle folk."
Tony.
Good evening, Tony.
Is he yours?
Zamzi Sani. It sounds like a South African. It could be, huh?
All right. Hello, Arsenal fan. We need to see our team like Rice, Caicedo, and Man City captain. No, Gundogan's going to Barcelona, man. He's not coming to us.
Maybe to Saudi Arabia. You never know.
Yeah. Arteta has no integrity. Oh my goodness. Yes, never gets his initial targets, and we have too much emotional children, not enough warriors. Thierry Henry was right. Oh my goodness. Glenn went,
Wow. Harvey Local Badge has gone in. He's gone in.
Look, to be fair to Arteta, he doesn't make the decisions to get the players. He will probably say, I want these players, but Edu and the rest of the guys, they need to make it work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Arteta was really on Mudryk, but because they played around with the funds, didn't get Mudryk. So to be fair, I don't think it's Arteta's integrity that's in question. It's more the guys who sort of make the decisions and the negotiations. It's their integrity, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. And on the Volley platform, I've seen you guys do your content, wonderful videos, man. So they're coming to live chat.
Yeah.
Newcastle United lost the Premier League in the same way. That was when was that?
That was when Keegan
went in.
Yeah, mate, against Fergie. I love it.
That was different to me. That was different.
Yeah, he wasn't that long on top. He wasn't that long on top.
No, it was like kind of close between them and Man United. But what Fergie did, he did something that nobody mentioned about. He did the old mind trick. He played on Kevin Keegan's kind of like
Oh yes, I remember there was a battle between the two of them. Yeah,
that's right.
He kind of like Jedi mind tricked him, because Keegan was all like, instead of just playing it cool. If Keegan played it cool, I reckon Newcastle could have won the Premiership.
Yeah,
probably.
But then he allowed the
emotion.
The emotion to get to him, and you could see Ferguson was like going, that was it. But if you remember, Ferguson said the same thing about Arsene. Ferguson said that no Frenchman has ever won the Premiership.
He
doesn't know nothing about English football. You know what I mean?
But Ferguson and Wenger did the exact same thing. Also lost the league. I think Liverpool lost the league to Arsenal in '89. We won the league in '89 at Liverpool. I think it was between Arsenal and United, and then there was a scenario with Ferguson as well twice in his tenure that United also lost it with 2 games to go. So there's a couple of guys, but it's not the same like what we've gone through now.
No. I mean, we had a higher points ratio than the previous teams that won as well,
and the
which makes the
longest
whole
stay
thing
keeps
a bit incredulous.
We kept the seats warmer for longer.
Amit, good evening. Rob, there's a question for you. Amit saying that if William Saliba, that is, does not put pen to paper to an extension, would you sell him in the summer?
Yeah.
Glenwyn?
It's apparently 70 million. I will take 70 million anytime, right?
Yeah.
We can't, like you said before, Alex, no sentiments. If we want players that want to play for Arsenal. Now, as I said before, if we pay him over the odds, there's got to be conditions. We've got to win something. You got to say, all right, you want 200 grand a week? Okay, here's 200 grand a week. Now help us win the Premiership. But don't come back to me when we don't win it. Don't come back to me and say, because I was injured, or because I'm not taking anything other than any kind of like excuses. If you want that money, then you have to pull the rest of the team by the bootstraps.
And that is where I think, Ralph, it's the problem comes with the guys who structure the deals. If they can structure a deal and says, William, you can come back to me when we don't win it. Don't come back to me and say, because I was injured, or because I was You want 200 grand a week. I'm not going to give you 200 grand out and out. I'm going to give you 160 plus add-ons to make up that deal. But you got to give me something.
Well,
it's
yes.
going to come to 200 a week if you can give me some sort of a bonus, FA Cup win, or maybe a European Cup, something to that effect. Give me something to get to that point. So as a give and take. But the guys who structure the deals, I don't know what they smoke. You know,
well, whatever they're smoking is not helping anyway. but you know what? I've been watching a really good documentary. I mean, I love sport. I love football, but I loved. It's coming to a time of tennis, and there's a really good documentary about the champions way back when at Wimbledon. And if you want to see like the mentality of a champion. I remember when I'm that old enough now. I remember when McEnroe burst onto the scene. Nobody ever argued with umpires. Nobody ever argued. Nobody ever said, "Oh, I saw chalk dust when the ball hit." You know. And Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King and Christy Everett and Arthur Ashe. There's something in it that, to me, the consistent mindset of a winner, because this is the reason why these people are so elevated. You know, tennis is a lonely sport as well, unless you're playing doubles. But to go in, and you have to go in to win. You can't be saying, "Oh, you know what? I'll see how I can get by." You have to go in to win, otherwise you get pulverized. But to see the mentality, and I look at that, and I'm thinking, when Alex and I did the stadium tour a few years back, and I walked onto and I wanted to walk on the pitch, but you can't. But I walked on the edge of the pitch, and I said to Alex, "Turn around." And I'm looking at the stadium. I said, "Alex, how is it that players say that they don't feel like it?" And Alex says, "Well, you know what? Well, sometimes you're not." I said, "Alex, me, if I was playing for Arsenal, you know, you have to drag me off the pitch. You have to drag me off the pitch. You know, my manager is saying, 'Come on, Ralph, come on.' No. I'm sure I need to score, because to me, that's how it should be. That's how you want your players to be. You know, and when I see those players from tennis, to have that kind of like still edge. You know, Martina was away from her country, and she became an icon for gay rights and everything else. But she was 19, 18, no, I think she was 18, 17. Chris Evert, 17, 18. These are young people, and I'm looking at Bucky Saka. I'm looking at Gabriel Martinez. I'm looking at Martinelli. I'm thinking, you guys are young, but you're just that bit older. So you got to go in. If you're going to go in and command dollars, you got to want to win. You got to win everything. You can't be just thinking, "Oh, you know what? I've got that money. I'll see if I turn up against Southampton."
But Ralph, very quickly.
Don't do like an Auburn Ozil type of player. All the big bucks and no mentality.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. I was just about, but Glenwyn and Ralph, does the club have the ambition to match the motivation and the hunger for these young players?
You know, I'm going to say something.
If they had the ambition, like you said, we'll at least won the Premiership 3 times, and we should have at least won the Champions League at least once.
Yeah.
16 years to get to a final. That's not a good return.
No,
that's not a good return. If you want to do comparisons against everybody else, Aston Villa won the I think it's called the Fairs Cup, wasn't it?
No,
or the UEFA.
The
was it
European
Cup.
Yeah.
But you know, there's other teams that's won it, and we was in the competition for the longest time, and couldn't get close.
Top 4 was our trophy. This is the thing. Management is there's no ambition from the people who runs the club, whether it's the Cronkies, whether it's the manager of the team, because you can't draw all that glamour to yourself and not win anything. Because if I, as a manager of a 30 million rand, it's now 23 rand to the pound, is not motivated or to do something different to make sales, then my boss is going to come to me and say, but Glenwyn, what are you doing to make sales? I'm going to have to come up with scenarios to obviously motivate myself, my team, and also have the ambition to go out there and look for the business. So the players that we get in is good players, but it's not the decision that you really wanted to make in order to get those players.
Could you imagine if we had Usmanov instead of?
I was just about to ask that question.
Usmanov.
He'd have been in the prison by now because of Russia.
Well, yeah, but we've had some kind of. I think he would have been gracious enough to have been able to hand it to people who got the club's best interest at heart.
He probably would have given the bid to Mr. Daniel Ek, I'm sure.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
That's a good shout, actually.
Yeah. But do you not think we would have won the Premier League if Alisher Usmanov had been the owner of Arsenal, Glenn?
Oh, yeah.
Possible. He's a fan.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He was ambitious. And he went to the matches.
Exactly.
He went to every match.
Exactly. Guys, I've got to go back into live chat. Emerson comes back with a cracker here. He says that that was the highlight of a Ralph watch along the season, especially when we scored a second goal, as Ralph's expression was priceless. So well done, Ralph.
What match was that?
I still want to see the Peter Drury Ralph impersonation.
What's that?
Also,
Peter Drury goal shots, man.
Yeah. Also, Rob Holding, do we keep or sell him? Glenwyn.
Sell.
Yeah. All right. Ayub Mohammed says Arsenal would ask for Rice and Caicedo, but Edu will probably get Tillemans. That's not going to happen. Yuri Tillemans is not coming to Arsenal. And some other Fabio Vieira.
Vieira.
Man, I don't know how that one happened, man. I don't know how that happened. And it says
he seemed like a good player.
Yeah, I would like to get Tyler Adams in the team. Oops, what else do we have here? I've got Gary says hello. There's an echo. Collins in the house is get him for the family headbutt. Don't want a headbutt. I like button. Just gently touch. And we'll get Ralph and Clement fired up. Ruben Evans would also add to the midfield, but he said he doesn't want to come to Arsenal. He's not coming to Barcelona. Yeah. And I think there's a couple more. It was Liverpool away, Ralph. That was the game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Liverpool,
yeah. My face.
I think that was Reece Nelson's shake that Ralph had going. Scenes at Ralph's HQ, baby.
The thing is, right? This is something I'm promising myself now for next season to make sure that I am as up to speed with the watch along in terms of time, because Emerson, Ashley D gave me some out of this world link that took me, and I lost everything on that. And DDW Gary as well. Everyone who joined the chat. Oh, even Angie. Oh, Ralph, guess what? We're 2 goals up. Where are you? I'm still waiting for the team to walk on the pitch.
Oh, yeah, you're quite behind, actually.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to try and speed that up as well. So, that's
Ralph, is that what T-shirt you have on? Is that a Bart Simpson or is it a...
No, it's a Snoopy.
Oh, Snoopy.
Snoopy.
Yeah.
Nice one.
I know the short story. I know the father or the son of the father who did the Snoopy characters. He had a studio in the West End, and I met him. I met the son for the first time. This is many moons ago, but my daughter saw this on top, and I loved it. So I'm a Snoopy fan.
Brilliant.
The childlike Ralph.
I don't take that. I'll take that. I'll take that then. I'll take it. The childlike Ralph. That might be my new tag name now.
It sounds like
Raz. The childlike Raz. The childlike Raz.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, we've come to an end on this easy talk where we spoke about the possibilities. Could it happen at Arsenal? Someone manipulating the results? Of course, it can happen at Arsenal.
I'm gonna say this, Alex. Remember last year when Granit Xhaka got all those yellow cards and red cards, and there was a rumor that a couple of people made bets on him getting a yellow card or red card. So,
nothing's impossible, unfortunately.
Nah, nothing is, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're finished on this easy talk. I hope you guys enjoyed it. An hour and some change there. Glenwyn, brother Glenwyn, man. When are you coming to London, man?
I don't know, man.
It's a long drive, man.
It's a long drive, man. It's gonna be. Look, it's a 13-hour flight already. So.
Oh my goodness, man! Oh wow. Oof.
Yeah, that's a long flight.
Get on the bus.
Get on the bus.
Yeah. And I really want to come, so I'm going to look into how and when. I mean, you and I spoke of it already. So, we're looking into doing something like that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you, man. And guys who are watching now live on the repeat, make sure you go over and subscribe to Guna Matters. The link is in the description box below. And as for my brother Raz.
Yes. Childlike Raz.
It sounds like Raz.
Snoopy Raz.
I'm going to get him wearing the Arsenal top. I think
that's a good idea, actually. Infringement on copyright. Anyway, I will not be back until next week, Monday. There's of course, no football apart from the Champions League and Arsenal not in the Champions League final.
Are you watching?
Of course, I'm going to be watching it. Of course.
Who do you want to win?
See how Man City lose it.
That's what I was thinking, actually. In my class, half the children support Man City. And there I was this morning saying, Inter. To wind them up.
You're not going to traumatize them at all, are you? Their faces on Monday, if that was the case, you would want to go back and...
No. Sounds just like Raz. Anyway. So to Glenwyn and my brother Raz, guys, thank you for a rather interesting Easy Talk. The Easy Talk won't be back next week Friday. We're going to be coming every other Friday, just to give myself, some room to think and contemplate and get ready for the transfer window. The silly season, Glenwyn. The silly season.
Don't believe the hype.
Yeah. Anyhow, guys, thank you very much. And this has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. I'm not sure which one I'm going to look. Oh, I'm looking this way.